Hello, it's Nicolette, and if you're new here, welcome. I am an American living in France. I have been living in France for a little over 2.5 years, and I have had my fair share of culture shocks. I've also noticed a lot of differences between French culture, French daily life, versus American culture and American daily life. One area where that is pretty prevalent is grocery stores and grocery shopping. So I thought it would be fun to go into a list of things that I have noticed that are very different between French supermarkets and American supermarkets. First off, before we get into the really specific things, I wanted to talk briefly about general grocery shopping food culture, because I think that in itself is incredibly different between France and the US. In America, I feel like there is this culture of the grocery haul. Americans will go to the grocery store 1 to 2 times a week and they will stock up. They will get frozen food, they will get non-perishables. They're really like prepping for the week. In France, that's really not the case. The French aren't really into this whole American, like, let's stock our cupboards for the apocalypse type of situation. They're going for what they're going to eat today, maybe tomorrow, for a few reasons. First off, just on a practical level, like most French refrigerators are tiny. Like I live in Paris, so I, like most people, have a mini fridge and there is no freezer space. You can fit maybe 1 bag of peas in that freezer. So just practically, you can't stock up. Although there is a very popular chain called Picard, which is 100% just frozen food. So there are definitely people in France that have actual freezers because this place is staying in business. Another thing that contributes to this is that there are way less preservatives and chemicals in French food. So the number one difference you're going to see is the bread. Most French people on a daily basis are going to a boulangerie for their bread. If you buy that bread and try to keep it for more than a day or two, it's going to be stale. It's going to be rock hard. You don't want to eat that bread. Is there sliced white bread in France? Yes. They even have crustless bread. But I'm telling you, no one goes to this section. Like, it is quiet. Why would you be going there when you have boulangeries on every single corner? In France, there are a lot of specialty stores. So we already talked about the boulangerie for bread, but there's also fromageries for cheese. There's butchers for meat, poissonneries like for fish. And a lot of times, these are all located within a block radius. You can go to the boulangerie and then right next to it is the butcher and then like 2 doors down is the fromagerie and boom, you have like most of what you need. Also, marchés for fruits and vegetables. There are tons of marchés, either outdoor markets or actual individual stores that sell only fruits and vegetables. And they're usually very fresh, more fresh than you will find in a supermarket. I feel like most people will at least buy a couple items at these specialty stores and they're not relying 100% on grocery stores. But now onto the specifics. First off, I want to tackle this one first because this was honestly the biggest supermarket culture shock for me, is that most places you need to weigh your fruits and vegetables. In the produce section, you will see this like scale with a little computer screen on it. And what that means is you need to take your fruit or your vegetables, put them on the scale. Like let's say you buy some sweet potatoes. So you're going to put the sweet potatoes on the scale, find the sweet potato button, and it prints out a little sticker receipt with the barcode of how much that costs. And you stick that on the sweet potato, bring it to the register, and they scan it. So a lot of times if you get to the register and you have not weighed your fruits and vegetables, they will be like, you need to weigh this. Go back to the scale. There are some supermarkets that will weigh the fruits and vegetables for you. So if you are looking around the produce section and you are not finding one of those scales, that means they're probably going to do it at the register. All right, next up, there are no over-the-counter medicines in grocery stores. You are not going to find an aisle with Band-Aids, with Advil, with icy hot patches. You're not going to find that in a grocery store. If you want that, you're going to have to go to a pharmacy. And there are pharmacies all over the place. They're designated with those green neon crosses. They're all over the place, sometimes multiple ones per block. So they're really easy to find. Everyone's super helpful in there. And that's where you're going to go. This next one, this is the hot button issue. This is political. This is significant. Cereal. The cereal aisles here are much smaller than American supermarkets. If you're an American, you know cereal, it's like a religion, okay? You have aisles and aisles of cereal, so many different kinds, so many different colors and flavors. That's not the case in France. And it's for a couple reasons. Number one, there are a ton of colors, additives, preservatives, chemicals that simply are not allowed in French food, that are allowed in America. Let's say you buy a box of a cereal that is available both in the US and France. If you look at the back of the box, it's going to be different. They're going to have way less stuff in the French one. Wild. Absolutely mind-blowing. But yeah, the same box of cereal is going to be healthier in France 9 out of 10 times. Anything that's super colored, Fruit Loops, Fruity Pebbles, doesn't exist in France. The more sugary cereals that you're gonna find in France are cocoa-based ones, so like Cocoa Puffs, Cocoa Rice Krispies, also things that are sweetened with honey, cinnamon, caramel. Anything beyond that, anything that's going into these artificially sweetened, flavored, colorful combos, it's not here. Yeah, Lucky Charms, those don't exist here. I don't know, you gotta like smuggle boxes in from the US or something. Well, the cereal aisle in France may be tiny. You know what aisle is not tiny? The cheese aisle. The French are really, really, really into cheese. I can confirm that fact. The grocery store I go to has multiple cheese sections. Like I went in there, saw a cheese section, I was like, oh, okay, this is the cheese section. Cool, pretty well stocked. Then I turned and there was an entire aisle of cheese. A whole aisle, larger than the cereal aisle, of just cheese. And compared to America, it is incredibly cheap. I think the only like wildly expensive cheese I found was, I'll put it on screen. It's this cheese that is also a hot button political issue, has been banned in the US apparently. I remember, I know this because one of my French cheese obsessed friends cried on the day that it was banned and was trying to figure out how to get it to the US. But other than that, all the cheese I've seen is pretty affordable. So if you're into cheese, come to France. Another section that is going to be very, very large, not quite as large as the cheese section, but pretty large, is the wine section. They're always going to have a huge selection of wines. Even if it's a tiny grocery store, they're going hard on the wines. A lot of times they will be broken up into regions. So you'll find your like Bordeaux section. Regions of France, they're going to have their own wine sections. Yeah, there is a surplus of wine in this country. Hot tip, if you were in Paris looking for grocery store wine, go to the Monoprix in Le Marais. Oh my goodness, they have an entire wine cave. Like it looks like a cellar. It's a work of art. I don't drink and I just liked going in there. It felt like I was in a museum. They even had wine that was like 500 euros. I was absolutely shocked. You can go into a Monoprix in Le Marais and buy a $500 bottle of wine. Shocking. I really want to know who goes into a Monoprix and decides to drop $500 on wine when there are literal like wine cabs and wine connoisseur shops that you can go into. Well, you will find a surplus of wine and cheese in French supermarkets. Something you are not going to find is crackers. This was really hard to come to terms with when I moved here. Like, I have not eaten a Triscuit in 2.5 years. I haven't. Wheat thins, haven't had wheat thins in 2.5 years. Goldfish, haven't had those either. They don't exist here. The French are not into crackers. They are into these stale, hard pieces of bread that you like put jam on. Very into those. They have lots of those. If you want those, they have a lot. There is a small, tiny section, usually near the chips, which is like these cheese-infused apéro crackers. I don't know. I've never tried them. They don't look great. Yeah, America is like the land of cereal and crackers, and France is the land of wine and cheese, and they don't cross. They just don't dip into each other's expertise. Up next, this one I definitely had to Google when I moved to France because I was like, what's up? What's up with them not refrigerating milk and eggs? Yeah, they're just out in the open. According to my Google results, the milk here is ultra pasteurized using the UHT method, ultra heat treated pasteurization. So it does not need to be refrigerated. Once you open it, it does need to be refrigerated, but it is shelf stable before it has been opened. The eggs, they are also not refrigerated. This was a little more confusing. It said something about the hens being vaccinated for salmonella in Europe and also it having some kind of protective coating on the egg. So yeah, for when you buy French eggs in the grocery store, they're not refrigerated. Don't refrigerate the eggs. Just keep them out. Keep them out on the counter. If you are some kind of dairy expert, please add a comment explaining the science of all this. The next thing, you can separate water bottles and iced teas and sodas from the packs that they are in. So if you go to the drink section, the non-refrigerated drink section, you are going to see cases of water that have been like ripped open, sodas that have been like separated from the 6-pack. You can do that. They are sold individually. I know in America there's something like right on the label, you cannot sell these things separately. In France, go wild. You can buy 1, you can buy 2, you can buy 5 and leave a single one there. Like, it's all good. Next up is Zero Gaspi. Basically, this means like zero waste. And this is a huge thing in all French supermarkets. Essentially, supermarkets are not allowed to throw out food. They either need to be composting it or donating it. All French grocery stores will have a section that is like a Zero Gaspi section. This is products that are about to expire that day or the next day. They are significantly reduced. They're going to have stickers on them with a reduced price. Also, what's really cool is a lot of supermarkets in the produce section will have little cardboard boxes or containers that you just like buy the box of these vegetables that are about to go bad for like 1, 2, 3 euros, and you get a bunch in there. Obviously, you probably got to eat it that day or make it into a soup. They even have this in like the pastry boulangerie section of the grocery store. Like I recently went and they had like macarons and these like really elaborate grocery store pastries on Zero Gaspi. So yeah, it's sometimes you can find some cool stuff. One fun thing I want to point out is that almost every French grocery store will have a fresh orange juice maker. It's this machine like that you would see at a juicing place where it has all the oranges on top and then you press the button and it brings them through the machine and gives you orange juice, which is pretty awesome. I don't know if I've seen that in US grocery stores. Please comment if you have. There was one incredibly bougie supermarket I went to that had the orange one, but then right next to it, they had a pomegranate one. Really wish I had tried it. I did not. Fresh squeezed pomegranate juice from the grocery store. Pretty amazing. Okay, this one's pretty fun, which is almost every single French grocery store, you are gonna have an international food section. In some supermarkets, it's gonna be really small. It's just gonna be like a shelf with a overpriced jar of peanut butter, a can of baked beans, and maybe some seaweed. But in other grocery stores, you're gonna have an entire aisle, and you're gonna have it divided by like, oh, here's food from Spain, food from Italy, Japan, the US. I love going to this section. It's so much fun. And if you want to find peanut butter, this is the section that you need to go to. It's not going to be located near like the Nutella and the jam. It's going to be in the international food section, and it's going to be a tiny jar of peanut butter that is like 7 euros. One minor thing that I do want to mention, because maybe it'll be a shock, is the toilet paper situation. They, for some reason, like to color and scent their toilet paper here. So yeah, I have purchased pink toilet paper. It's a thing. If there is a French person watching this video, please let me know in the comments, why do you color your toilet paper? Why do you scent your toilet paper? I have never seen that until I moved to France, but it's a thing. So yeah, wide variety of choices and flavors of toilet paper in France. I feel like there are so many other things that I could go into about the differences between French and US grocery stores. If you have other things that you've noticed while traveling or living here, let me know in the comments. And also let me know if there are other videos that you want to see on this channel. That's all for now. Au revoir.